If 2020 doesn't go down as the year that the world officially went clinically insane, then I think we should all be scared for whatever's next. At this point, some Black Lives Matter activists have been demanding my allegiance and telling me that if I were a real Christian, then I would be aligned with their movement. And as you'd expect, some of their opposition has told me the exact same thing. But let me tell you what I think about all that. If this is your first time here, go ahead and hit that sub button. And meme team, you guys ready? Then let's go! Now, the world has gotten to the point where no one's politely requesting for you to pick a side in these political debates and discussions. Instead of this being a time where we talk about the positive reasons why you should support a political party, position, or ideology, we're only being told the reasons why you have to actively oppose the other side at all costs. Social media and political news is so infused with emotion and inflammatory rhetoric that it becomes harder and harder for people of opposing views to have a civil conversation about how we can collectively work together to make the world a better place. People haven't only been demanding that I agree with them, but claiming that if I don't agree with their political views, then I'm not a real Christian. If you know me, you know that that kind of talk just doesn't work for someone like me. But what's weird about this is I would expect this to some degree from the Christians on the right, but surprisingly, most of it that I've gotten and seen over the last month has come from non-Christians on the left. All of this constant pulling back and forth has made me think even more about why I don't like to align myself with these types of groups and parties that forcefully insist that they do all their thinking for me. About 15 years ago, I read a book called The Power of Persuasion. And in the book, one of the things they talked about how was in politics, politicians will intentionally keep their slogans vague so that way people can attach their own ideas to the concept. And by doing so, a far greater amount of the people will affirm the slogan. Think about Obama's campaign slogan, change, right? Now, no one really knew what the slogan specifically referred to, but what we did know is that lots of people during the election wanted things to change in America, or else they wouldn't have been involved in politics in the first place. So even though a lot of people were in support of the slogan change, they all probably had a different set of ideas attached to the slogan and what expectations they expected to come from it. Think about Trump's slogan, Make America Great Again. The same thing applies there. See, the thing is, people know that things are messed up now, and if they're messed up now, then there was a time when they were better. So once again, the slogan is intentionally crafted to be vague in order to allow for people to attach their personal expectations to the slogan. Because there isn't any precision or clarity given in these kinds of statements, you don't really know what you're supporting when you support the slogans most of the time. That's why these slogans work. If they were defined too narrowly, then they would lose a lot of potential supporters. Think about a lot of these modern day social justice movements we have today. They're usually crafted to say something vague that you're inclined to agree with, but then as time goes on, they add a lot of other political baggage and eventually end up using the movement for something entirely different. And as their views get more and more radical, they up the emotional pressure and the inflammatory rhetoric by doing everything they can to emotionally pressure people into agreement and making examples out of those who don't agree. They essentially say that if you don't align with them, you stand with the racists, the Nazis, the bigots, and so on, whatever other kind of names you can think of. So ultimately, they persuade or pressure you into going all in and giving them your allegiance. And now they say that if my allegiance was really with Christ, it would be with them and their movement as well. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't want to be known primarily as someone who's aligned with any of these movements that they try to force me into aligning with. When people look back on my life, I want them to see where my allegiance truly lies. As a Christian, my allegiance first and foremost is with Jesus Christ. That's what I want people to understand about me and what I stand for. I don't know what these other movements are going to represent in 5 years because I don't even know what they represent today anymore. There was a time that I thought I knew, but it gets more and more difficult as time goes on. But what I do know is that if God exists and he was revealed to us in the person of Jesus Christ, which I obviously believe is true, then those of us that are Christians can't lose sight of the bigger picture. Us being known as followers of Christ is a far more important thing for us to be remembered by. The truth of Christianity is a truth that surpasses all of this political stuff, no matter what's going on in this ever-changing world. When people think of me, I want people to think about how we're all saved by grace through faith and why that matters to them both objectively and subjectively. I want people to see far past me and far past my life and see Christ more clearly through the life and the work that he's given me. So that's just a few of my thoughts on it. Go ahead and leave your thoughts down below. And the next time that you find yourself forgetting where your ultimate allegiance lies, what are you going to say?
What do you mean?